Karate chop.
Hi, everybody. Welcome
Hi,
back.
everybody.
Welcome to our freak show.
And today's guests are...
Yeah. Sorry for the late start. That was my fault. Just trying to pull information up and lost track of time. But we're here.
For those of you who don't know, welcome to Late Night Snax. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your millionth time here, welcome. We are so happy you guys are here with us. We look forward to having some fun, talking about some characters, breaking some stuff down. If you don't know, I'm Irish Melly. To my this way. Wait.
Here's Mike.
Yep.
Mike's in the house.
That's Mike. That one.
And I'm DeWanda.
That's the one. Today we are going to do a character study and connection episode of Freak Show, and we are talking about the darlings, which for us is Jimmy, obviously, Ethel, obviously, and we are also going to be speaking on Del and Desiree. Oh, hey, Dee.
Pretty much strictly. What's up, Bertie? So, we starting with Jimmy?
Yeah, we can go ahead and start with Jimmy.
Jimmy is Evan Peters, one of the stars of the show.
Jimmy is actually, Evan Peters is Jimmy is one of the only, there's only two characters who are in every episode this season.
Jimmy and
Elsa,
yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Jessica and Evan were the only two that were in every episode this season. So Jimmy's the illegitimate son of Del Toledo and Ethel Darling, which we will get into momentarily. He's a character in the Freak Show. He has a condition. Now let me see if I can do this. I always mess up the end because I know what it is, but then my brain says something different. Ectrodactyly.
There you go.
Ectrodactyly.
Yeah.
Ectrodactyly. Yep.
I forgot to plug up my phone.
Lobster claw.
Hold on.
Lobster claw.
Lobster claw.
Charger.
Yep. Ectrodactyly.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Be like this.
Be in the middle of talking. But yeah, I said that right?
Yep.
Yes, you did.
Bam. See, I'm good. Every time I practiced it, I would say it right in my head, but then when I said it out loud, it was completely different. Yeah. It was like my tongue and my brain just were not working on the same path.
Just genetic.
Yeah. All right, now let's see if I can get this to prop up with the charger on it. I got to turn you guys.
Right. Oh, we're going for a ride.
Going for a ride. That's right.
So the lobster claws is a genetic disease.
Yes.
Passed down generation by generation. Sometimes it skips a generation, as we will see.
Sometimes it skips a generation.
These characters.
Okay. And there. All right. Jimmy was born in 1928. His deformity has been exploited all his life, beginning with the paid admission to witness the spectacle of his birth, which Mike will get into a little bit more in a minute here. Let's see. His entire life, he's seen his mom drinking, and he's vowed to not be an alcoholic because he's seen his mom drink and seen that she's a heavy drinker and she is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
His dad, Del, he blames him for abandoning her, but we find out that Ethel actually left him because Del tried to kill Jimmy when he was a baby.
Yeah. I'll touch a little bit more on that when we get to his character.
Right. And his condition with the lobster hands was passed down to him from Dell's parents, who had it. So it skipped Dell and went to Jimmy. So Dell doesn't have it, and that's why
Apparently
I guess
everybody in Dell's family, except for Dell, has the condition.
right. Yeah, they mentioned that Dell's like the only one who doesn't have this condition. And didn't he say he doesn't know if it's a blessing or a curse?
Correct.
His family, the way they treated him, because he was treated like the outsider in his own family because he was different, normal, quote unquote, you know.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, absolutely. It's because everybody else they're either jealous of him or they're spiteful of him.
All right, now we'll describe Jimmy. Jimmy's an attractive young man with intense, dark brown eyes.
Ooh la la.
Short, dirty blonde hair. He favors wearing a white tank top with overalls or a motorcycle leather jacket. Jimmy's very charming, and he has a strong affection for his fellow freaks. He's loyal to those close to him. He's very much like not the daddy of the freaks, but like the big brother of the freaks. Yeah. Even the ones that are older than him and that give him advice and look to him protective wise. He's very protective of them, as if like maybe not even a big brother, but a sibling in general, just a sibling.
Oh yeah,
very much. And they're all like family anyway, but Jimmy just seems to have a stronger bond with everyone than some of them have with each other.
In there. And they trust him.
They all consider him to be like the group leader because
right.
they always go to him if something
they look
happens.
for decisions. They look for him for advice, everything.
And you know, he's constantly fighting for acceptance of the freaks, to be accepted by normal people, regular people, and he dreams of being able to leave the freak show and live a normal life, quote unquote, normal.
Right.
Yeah, normal.
Normal people.
So,
but then again, when you think about it, what is normal anyway?
Well, look at the tagline: "Normal people scare me."
Yeah.
Okay, so Jimmy he wears gloves so that he can go around town, go to the diner, do different things, and so that people won't notice it right away and stare at him and, you know, treat him different. This way he can be accepted and he can go out into society without being run off or made fun of or whatever. Jimmy likes extracurricular activives.
Yes.
Yes, he does. Literally,
he's very well received.
And even though, let me mention, even though Jimmy vows not to drink, I just thought about this. We do see Jimmy get drunk at one point. 2 points, right?
Yeah.
No, the 1 point. The 1 point. Regardless. Yeah. Normal people are freaking weirdos. You're right, B. You're so right.
Do you want to just put it up there that he's watching Freak Show in high def? If you've not seen Freak Show in high def, I recommend it.
Oh, I know.
Absolutely
so good.
Incredible. The level of special effects and everything they went to this season.
Yeah. It's intense. You see so much more, and you wouldn't think, oh, whatever, it's not that big a deal. But to watch it regular and then to watch it in HD, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, so he wanted to leave and live off of the land, he said. However, after Elsa brings Bet and Dot to the freak show, Jimmy bonds with them because he kills the officer, the detective. And I looked it up, it's Bunch, Detective Bunch.
Oh, okay. Because that was bugging me for a while.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the one that Jimmy killed. Not Colquitt. Colquitt came looking for Bunch. That's why he came.
Yeah, that's the one that comes later.
And for Bet and Dot and everything, but he came looking for the detective.
Colquitt came when in Murder House. Did he come after another detective in Murder House as well? I wonder if that's the same pattern.
No. He just showed up. I'm trying to
Because
think
one
of the order because we have like the
basically,
truancy officer showed up in Murder House.
in Murder House, there was 3 different ones because there was the truancy officer,
There was the security guard.
persons, there was the missing persons officer for Sally Freeman.
Oh,
and
that
then there was,
was what's his name? I can't ever remember his name. Something Hudson, isn't it?
and
Rock
then
Hudson? The Rock Hudson.
and then the other one was the homicide detective that showed up, and I believe that was Colquitt.
Okay.
Was
Just
the
curious if there was
homicide.
one thing, because that's always so weird to me that that's the. What if they're just trying to say that those two were like related, or just coincidence, or what? But I wondered if that was the same pattern.
That was not a mistake. Like, oops, we used
No.
the same
No.
name twice. That's
It's such
there
a unique
on
thing.
purpose. And it just so happens to be in the season where we decide to do a crossover and bring Pepper in.
Yeah,
Yep. First time we ever did a crossover. Yeah.
Right.
because this is where actually
So this
the first
actually connected Murder House and Asylum.
Yeah.
Do you
Kind
think
of.
there was any Coven connection?
I don't know.
Well,
I think in the
we'll
early
have to
stages,
look
I
at
don't think
that.
I don't think they were planning on that.
Yeah, but they
Yeah, I thought
knew
this was
they were
more
doing
of a
Murder
love
House and Asylum. Why wouldn't they do Coven when it's only the 4th season? You know what I mean?
Were they
Debbie,
just doing
Hey,
something fun with the name?
Debbie.
What's up, Debbie? Because I thought that initially what he said with the whole Pepper thing, that it was just a love letter to that character. Because they love the character so much, they love Naomi Grossman's performance so much that they
Right.
decided to do that. And then when they saw the fans' response, is when they started going ape shit crazy on the stuff.
because technically Pepper was the first cross.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we can go back to what Mel was talking about. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So then Jimmy got worried about covering up his crimes, and he became remorseful for killing the cop. He went back and forth. He began to consider a more compassionate and civil approach to seeking society's acceptance with the aid of Paul and Eve, who we will get into later. He enters the detective's dismembered body for incineration and secures the policeman's badge to find another means of disposal. So they got rid of the body.
Yep.
Yes.
Long story short, they got rid of the body. He kept the badge. We don't know what he did with it. They didn't show him do anything with it, I don't think, did they?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So then we enter Jimmy meeting Dandy, because as we know, when we said yesterday, Dandy shows up to see the freak show, and that's when he tries to buy Bet and Dot. Him and his mother do. So Jimmy shoots down Dandy's desire to join the troupe by assuring him that it wasn't the life for him, and expressing envy for Dandy's affluence and lack of deformity. So this is like the first thing that really sets Dandy off, really upsets him. He wants to be a freak. He wants to be part of this freak show, this family. He finds it so fascinating because they're different.
Yeah. He
In
wants
a
to be
weird way. Like, not like these people who come and gawk at them, but like almost like I want to be you weird way. You know? Stalker, I want your position, single white female type of shit, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. And I mean, we'll get into him later too, but man, Finn's performance this season just woo!
Who's Finn's? Oh yeah.
Talk about a debut, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
What a character.
God. Yeah. But we'll get into that later. So then Jimmy wants everybody. He's like, you know what? Screw society. We don't have to hide anymore. We shouldn't be ashamed of who we are. You know, gives this big speech, and then he marches everybody into the diner in Jupiter, Florida, where they're at. Yeah. I don't know what the name of the diner was or anything. I don't think they gave a name. I don't think it matters.
They didn't actually give it a name, I don't think.
Like a little mom pop diner that's in every town.
Just a little local diner, you know. Back in the day. and it doesn't go over well with the staff or the patrons. People are just kind of like, oh, and they're looking at them and they're like trying to run out, and people are leaving. The staff's like, you guys have to leave. And Jimmy starts an argument because he doesn't want to leave. I mean, long story short there is just that, again, Jimmy's fighting for the acceptance of these freaks. It shows his heart and his compassion again for these people, which Jimmy is so parallel to Kit to me in so many ways. Maybe because they're two of Evan's least like hateable characters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they're both kind of humanitarians in their own right. They're
both fighting for something in different ways.
They just can't see beyond the humanity of each and every person. It's like, you know what, if somebody's deformed, somebody's mentally ill, somebody has problems, somebody murders somebody whatever, they're just like, they're all people. And Kit, not Kit. Neither one of them could see beyond.
I've noticed with Kit's characters, his most humane characters are on the even track. Not the odd track, but the even track.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
6, Rory and 6.
Yeah. And even Edward Mott, like he still helped him, whereas everybody else was trying to kill him. You know, when you get to the ghost phase of it, the actual person, not the actor. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he wasn't a great guy, but you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like you said, the even track for sure. And you'll find that with a lot of the characters, they tend to be either, like Mike says a lot, you know, with other things too, either on the even or on the odd track. Like it happens that way. And that's why people tend to either be on the even or the odd track when it comes to what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because there's so many similarities with those same ones.
Yep. I'm an even track guy.
Yes, that's what we were saying. Yeah, it's not the same actor, not at all, but it's the same name for sure. And there's been theories and speculation out there on that and what that means. And, you know, we'll get into that on a Theory Thursday. Latino. Yeah, they did look so very different. Very, very different. Like maybe married by, or maybe related by marriage.
Right.
You know what I mean? That could be an adopted child. Who knows? It could have been, I mean, because there would be so many years in between for them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Wow, I didn't know that. Boy, Debbie, you're just full of all sorts of interesting nuggets, aren't you?
That's because it's happening close to home. Debbie knows everything about that. Okay, so then Jimmy meets Maggie, Maggie Esmeralda, the fortune teller.
Yeah.
Her and Stanley show up in town, and Jimmy kind of takes a liking to her. He likes her. They go on and off in this relationship. Maggie's another one just to touch on real quick because I'm not sure where we're covering her later. You know, fortune teller is just, you know, freak shows and side shows, as they were called, always had fortune tellers or card readers, someone who would look into their crystal ball and tell you your future, because whether they knew it or not, that was something that people were just, you know, amazed with and enamored with. You know, everybody wants to know what's in store for them, you know, so especially if it's bad, you can try to change it, I guess, but, you know, so just a little tidbit on that. Let's see. And then Jimmy visits Dandy's house after the twins are at Dandy's house because he wants to see the twins. He wants to make sure they're okay, they're safe. This is after he found out that Elsa had sold them off, kind of what we were talking about yesterday. They just say that we're okay. He leaves. You know, I won't get into that because that's their story from yesterday. We're covering Gloria with Dandy, right?
Yes. Gloria is with Dandy, yes.
Yes.
That's what I thought. So then we have Jimmy back at the Freak Show. He performed a song for Elsa, or he performs a song for Elsa, which he demands to be in the show. And this is when we get some amazing music. So this is when it's going to be fun when we get to the nominations for this too. Because they cover a lot of regular songs and they do them just a little bit differently and things like that. And didn't Jimmy cover Nirvana? Isn't that what it was? Smells Like Teen Spirit, right?
Yes.
It's great.
I remember. Yeah.
Great.
That was amazing. It was so
Yes, it was.
good. It really, really was. I really enjoyed that. And then, Elsa tells him, remember who you're talking to which he replies, I know exactly who I'm talking to, a liar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the distrust that he just it turns into.
Any opportunity we have to use that line, I just love it.
And Jimmy's just mad at her about the twins because, the twins running off and everything else. And he gets upset. He goes back to his tent and ends up cuddling up with Maggie, cuddling. And they end up cuddling. Yeah, okay. So they end up cuddling in their underwear. If I would have said that in front of her, she would have been like, ooh, or something. So, yeah. So they end up cuddling in their underwear. Maggie brings up that she wants to run away with him because Maggie already knows she's a fool. She's a scam. She knows she's there. They're just trying to run a scam, but she really starts to feel for Jimmy.
Yes.
Yes, I loved Jessica's Bowie cover. You actually bought it though?
Yeah.
I don't buy
I have them all on my phone. They're downloadable on iTunes.
I can't afford things like that.
Well, they're all on
Come as
iTunes.
you are. That's what it was. Come as you are.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. Now I'm picturing the whole thing in my head now that you say it. Like I'm hearing it and everything. And I can picture it. Yeah. And it was such a performance too. I love the way they filmed those scenes, the musical numbers, because it wasn't meant to make us feel like we were watching a musical, which he knows, either his fan base likes or doesn't like. And that's because he has fans obviously from Glee and other things, whereas then he has fans who are just from like American Horror Story and stuff like that. So it's nice how he sprinkles this stuff in. But this one obviously was a little more overloaded with musical numbers, but they were done nicely. You didn't feel like you were watching a musical. It wasn't something that happened every episode. It wasn't something that happened multiple, times over and over in a row. So it wasn't anything that was too overpowering,
Mm-hmm. Michael.
There we go. We'll get it right back. That was even Evan.
Oh, when our actors sing, the auto tune. Okay, now this is where Del takes Jimmy out to go drinking. Del takes Jimmy out to go drinking because he wants to get him all messed up because he wants to kill him. He wants to cut his hands off and give him to Stanley. And then I'm not going to say why. I'll let you get into that. But he ends up not doing it. He ends up feeling bad because right when he's about to I forget what it was, knock him over the head or hit him or something. That's when Jimmy in his drunken stupor tells him that he knows he's his father, that he's known for a little while now. And I forget what he says, I've known since such and such.
Yeah, there was an event or something rather that.
Yeah, something that made the wheels turn for him. Yeah. He said the way his mom acted or treated him.
That's how he
something like that.
That was treating him. That's how he figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so before all this happens, I forgot, I touched on it earlier, but I didn't mention it. Jimmy's extracurricular activities. Jimmy likes to pleasure
Oh, yes.
the women in town with his talented talents, I guess. The women like his hands.
Yes, they
It
do.
hits all the right spots, and they have parties.
Yeah.
They have parties that are, undercover Tupperware parties, but they're really they're selling Tupperware and
Yeah.
stuff, but they each take turns going in the room with Jimmy, and they just pay him when he's done, and he leaves. So he's just offering his services. I guess technically this is prostitution, but he's not sleeping with anybody, and I don't know, I don't know what gray area that might fall in. I guess it's still a sexual act and he's being paid for it, right? And that's the whole definition. I don't know. So yeah, so we see that Jimmy loves the ladies and the ladies love Jimmy until Ethel dies. And again, I'm not getting into that. Ethel dies. And then Jimmy is drunk and all upset. And so he goes to the Tupperware party with the ladies. He's like, all right, I'll go do this party to get my mind off of things. And he ends up just like crying in this lady's lap and, just bawling, and they go to kick him out. Well, then Dandy returns after Jimmy leaves. And just to touch on it, Dandy murders everybody, but Jimmy is then framed for it. So Jimmy goes to prison. I mean, you guys have mostly seen he just the rest of this is not really Jimmy's story. I'll get into the end of Jimmy's story once we get further along with other people's story, because it doesn't make sense if I start telling it now.
Yeah,
but I will get into telling you guys the inspiration, like we had said. Ectrodactyly is the condition, and Jimmy was inspired by sideshow performer Grady Stiles Jr., who is the world famous lobster boy and became the world famous lobster man. As he grew, they changed his title from boy to man. He gained his nickname because of his hands, obviously. And Jimmy's were a little bit different. They weren't similar, which obviously this condition affects everybody differently. Theirs may not look the same. Whereas Grady Stiles Jr.'s looked exactly like, where am I at? Claws.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get in the camera.
Yeah.
There.
Kind of like this.
Basically. I can't even do it. Like, it doesn't even do it justice, because it can't make it look like what it looks like.
Right.
But he several generations of his family had the condition and performed in sideshows billed as the Lobster Man. When he was born in 1937, he was severely affected by the condition because his feet were also affected. And it rendered him basically useless to walking. He would crawl around on the floor and drag himself around with his arms. And you have to remember, this is 1937, so they didn't have anything special to help him get around specifically. I mean, I'm sure somebody could have made him something or made him a chair or something, and people pushed him around or something. But because I know they had wheelchairs then. But I mean, nothing for him, just himself to get around and everything. But yeah, he was incorporated into the show from a young age. Like I said, billed as the lobster boy, and then as he grew, became the Lobster Man. He was an abusive, bitter man. He married twice, had 4 children. He was a violent alcoholic who often would use his incredible strength to beat his wives and children. So there's that strength that we see Del have. The strong man, because they do talk about him being really, really strong. And a lot of that comes from his arms, his power. They talk about, because him having to drag himself around and not being able to use his legs made his arms so strong and big. And he actually, he could kill somebody if he hit them hard enough. He was that strong in his arms. In 1978, his oldest daughter married a young man that he didn't approve of. An altercation occurred, and he murdered the young man by shooting him with a shotgun. He confessed to the murder in court, but was released due to the prison being unequipped to deal with his disabilities. He grew arrogant after getting away with the murder, and his beatings resumed when he began to brag about the murder. And then in 1992, his lifelong suffering family had enough and hired a fellow sideshow performer to assassinate Styles.
Yep.
The
This
assassination
was crazy.
was successful, and Styles was killed with 3 bullets to the head.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, is very similar to what we see at the end of Freak Show with the freaks.
Yes.
Yep. Very true.
Yes, a lot of inside crime, that family.
Yes.
There's whole documentaries about them, the father and the grandfather and all those.
Oh,
guys.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
All right, where do we...
ranking Peter's characters by evilness, Jimmy was listed number 14 by effects.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Huh.
But when you think Evan's characters number 14, how many characters does Evan have? Just Evan's characters.
14 characters?
Well, hell, Colt, how many do they have just in Colt?
Yeah. I forget that.
That's what knocked him over. That's what knocked him over beating Sarah when it comes to doing multiple characters.
Yeah, he had 2 in Roanoke.
He was just doing
6
Colt alone. That's
8 right there.
Well, that's how we'll talk about Colt when we get there, but that's going to be fun to do that.
Very true.
But yeah, that's basically Jimmy's story. I mean, unless you want to jump into Ethel then real quick.
And we'll get to a little bit more.
You want to start with Jimmy's birth with Ethel?
Yeah, with Ethel. It was interesting that I believe that we are right, that the show says that they are not married. But this Wikipedia, and Debbie, you are
no
master of knowledge here. They're saying that their Dell is Ethel's ex-husband on the page. So were they married, divorced, and then got back together?
For both of them, yeah.
I can look at it.
See, yeah, and it says Jimmy's an illegitimate child. I thought they were married because I remember Ethel talking about it.
She talked about she left him.
Yeah, I assumed that as well.
Dell is a Toledo. Ethel is a Darling. Ethel did not adopt his last name.
Well, I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean,
but this here is saying that they're divorced, and the way that Ethel told it other times, it was almost like after the birth thing, she just left him. So it's confusing. I'd have to go back and watch.
So maybe she left him, and then officially, like they just finally filed paperwork or something afterwards. So.
Anyway, with Ethel, she was pretty much a performer her whole life. She's a bearded lady, which is based off of many famous bearded lady in the past. But bearded, for women is not as uncommon as you think. There's to a minimal degree or to maximum degree. It's just extra hormones that cause that. With this type of thing, it's there's medical treatments much more advanced now than there was. But it was one of those things that was something like in Ethel's case, with that kind of hair, you became a freak, a circus performer. You got a job, you got a steady job, you can fit it somewhere in society, and there you go. And such was Ethel. When she was in her early troops, I'll just kind of summarize it, and it's in the show. But she wanted to be a serious actress. She wanted to be serious. She was like training to be like Shakespeare and stuff like that. She wanted to do these serious types of performances, but as a bearded lady. And then she found that she wasn't taken seriously.
Debbie said she thought they were married for sure.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely.
That's what I thought. I thought they were married.
See, that's originally what I thought, and then I thought about her talking about just leaving him, and I thought, well, maybe it's not clear. So I don't know. I'll check on it. She wanted to. She wanted to, be one of the beautiful women. She wanted to be a dancer. She wanted to be all these things, and just her body type, her facial hair, all that stuff just didn't fit into the dream that she had in her hair, in her head. So she met Dell. Dell convinced her to do these solo act things. Dell convinced her to. You know what? You've got something special. Me and you, we're gonna be a team. We're gonna go on the road. We're gonna do like all these fabulous things. And of course, here's the strong man, and he's handsome, and she like all falls in love with him. And he basically can con her and talk her into anything. which is horrible because it's exactly what he cons her into. He cons her into when he had strung her out on too many cons and too many bad job stuff. He cons her into a performance of her birth, the birth of her son, which is Jimmy. And basically, he opens up a public viewing under a tree in the middle of the open to watch the bearded lady give birth. And she was having a difficult pregnancy. She's having a difficult birth. This was all miserable for her. It's just painful. And it was at this moment that she realized that this is all wrong, that all of this was inhumane, that Dell was just using them. Um, then Jimmy was born, and he was born deformed, and Dell didn't take to him, and Dell knew the horrors of what Jimmy was because of his family, and he had kept that a secret that he had, that was in his family. And Dell tries to kill Jimmy, and we'll talk about that when we get to Dell. But once he tries to kill Jimmy, Ethel took Jimmy and they ran, and she left him. So whether there's divorce or whatever, she got away from this horror of this man who conned their whole relationship and then tried to kill their own son because of his deformity, that he didn't accept, the deformity. So she went to go and she raised his son. She raised Jimmy on her own, and that's what eventually she became part of Elsa's cabinet. And with Elsa, Elsa took her and Jimmy in. Ethel becomes almost like a confidant, a best friend, a co pilot, a personal assistant, whatever you want to call it. She was the confidant to Elsa. She was Elsa's trust. She was Elsa's bookkeeper. She was Elsa's manager. All of these things all of these different jobs that people do to keep a star in line or to keep a company in line. Ethel was that to Elsa, and because she was that to Elsa, it became very, very complicated towards the end of their relationship. But Ethel also kind of ran the show. She was kind of the stage manager of the show. She kind of kept everybody in line as far as the freaks, making sure that people were healthy and fed. And she was like the mama of the troop, always keeping Elsa kind of in the office all high. You know what? You need an appointment with Elsa? Come see me. Oh, don't worry about Elsa. She's going through this, making excuses for Elsa and covering for her and protecting her and all that. So she took on the role, I think, to give herself importance and give herself, a place. She wanted a place in society. She created a society around herself, and she became that matronly, motherly instinct that she always had. She became that. She exuded that for everybody in the show. Then when the twins came on, she found a really personal attachment to the twins. She felt very protective of the twins, so she wanted to make sure that they fit in, that people were doing right by her. She got wind of kind of Jimmy going on with the twins. She knew what Jimmy was up to, probably since his teenage years. She knew that Jimmy was, going around and seeing the women and doing all these things. She knew that Jimmy was out causing, rows and fights. And Jimmy was her soft spot. She lost control of Jimmy as far as because Jimmy was allowed to do whatever he wanted because she felt that Jimmy had enough sense to do right by himself. And she was always protecting him from the lies, protecting him from Dell, protecting him from whatever, that she just created this bubble around herself and when it came to Jimmy. So she also would take a bullet for Jimmy. She also would, stand from a train for Jimmy. Jimmy was her life. Then Dell comes into the picture. Dell comes into the camp, and he comes into the camp with Desiree, his new lady, and this really sends Ethel into just a whirlwind. She's got feelings, she's got hurt feelings, she's got old love feelings, she's got anger towards Dell for Jimmy, she's got protection for Jimmy for not wanting Jimmy to know who he is, and she's got worries of that, all the lies that she's caused, Jimmy about who this man is. It sends Ethel into chaos. It sends Ethel to drink. And Ethel is not well with the bottle, and Ethel kind of since the appearance of Dell, Ethel kind of spirals out of control, and she loses sense of anything and everything that's going on around her. This is where she loses, and she even loses her confidence in Elsa. And this is when Elsa's trying to do her dirty shit and starting to sell off the twins and do anything she can to keep the show alive. And Ethel's not there to keep her book straight or whatever. And basically, in a nutshell, the whole relationship of fighting with Dell and Jimmy learning the truth and Ethel going on the bottle and then finding out what Elsa was doing and wanting to expose Elsa, but then not being able to publicly expose and shame Elsa, she was just going to kill him. She just said, one of us, in Ethel's mind, one of us has got to go because we can't live in this world where we know the truth, the ugly truth about each other, and know that all of these lies and all of this stuff, and we can't protect each other anymore. One of us has to go. And so she tries to kill her. It ends up going awry, and then Elsa ends up killing Ethel, and in the most horrific, unnecessary decapitation in the show. It's absolutely insane that they after they kill her, they tie her head to the freaking rope in the car and back it up, and your head comes flying. It's gross. It's unnecessary. But that's how
Yeah, they were trying to cover up the fact that Elsa killed her with a knife.
Yeah. They did this big old huge and massive cover.
They were trying to make it look like an
unnecessary because they go this huge dramatic thing setting up this whole crashing into the tree and the whole it was nuts. Poor Ethel. But in the end, after we talk about Mordrake in a couple of days, but everybody gets to reunite at the Freak Show, and we see that Ethel, as far as this representation of the afterlife in this show, we see that Ethel found her peace. And I think that by finding her peace at the end is I think that Ethel had made up her mind at that point that she knew that she could not live with all of everything that she had built falling apart around her, and that she was okay with leaving the world versus causing any more harm to it. And we see that she found that peace.
Mm-hmm.
She comes back to the Freak Show. She's loved and she's welcomed and she's beautiful. And I think I think her story is one of the most tragic ones Kathy Bates ever played. It's as far as just the want and the desire in her to be that person, to be that good, to be that giving, to be that protective, and then yet failing in it so miserably in every aspect of her life, in her career, in her son, in her love, in her the job with Elsa, but yet still finding peace at the end of the day was pretty beautiful, but pretty tragic at the same time. Other things about her, she's some highlight kind of stuff. She has that weird accent. Everybody always talks about that weird old accent that that Kathy Bates adopted.
Yeah.
Remember, Kathy Bates is a meta actor. She's a method actor, meaning that she stays in character 24/7 when she's doing a character. And this accent that Kathy Bates developed, she said she was working on a couple different accents. There's a Bostonian accent and some sort of New England accent that she was working on, and this accent kind of came to be in the development of it. There's nothing that's really pinpoint specific. Kathy just kind of laughs about it. She says, I really don't know what it was. It just kind of happened, and she stuck with it. And being method, she really developed it, and it sounds so natural.
I think it was a combination of both. It was a combination of both the accents she was working on.
She laughs about it now, but I think it's cool.
With her being so method, can you guys picture being in town where they're shooting like Debbie was, and just walking into a diner and there's Kathy Bates, not shooting, but just sitting at a diner eating a meal with a big old beard?
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah, just hanging out, doing a thing.
And you'd look twice, you'd like, wait, is that Kathy Bates?
But see, that wouldn't have been Kathy Bates, that would have been Ethel. Ethel was there. I would have liked to see her running around as the butcher. That's how I would like to see her running around town as the butcher. So she what else?
He said, well put, Michael, about Ethel.
We're going to talk about her, about Mordrake, when we get to Mordrake. But when Mordrake is the spirit that comes to take somebody away that Halloween because he was called upon, and her story with Mordrake is really gut wrenching. It's really that she pleads with him to take her. And
Mordrake's like the Grim Reaper of freaks.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that when we get to Mordrake. But she's special in that story as well. What else? So, basically she finds her peace at the end. With the facts on this one a little bit is she earned a whole bunch of nominations for awards for this roles, Golden Globes, Emmys. She also Ethel was a love for poetry. I guess Ethel loves Emily Dickinson. I don't remember that in there.
Okay.
The facts
she was reading the book at one point, I believe.
Huh?
She was reading the book at one point, I believe.
They said it's a Baltimore accent was how it's officially listed as the accent. But I know Kathy Bates has talked about it being a combination of different things she's
right.
This is Kathy Bates' favorite character of all the
Mhm.
characters she's ever played. This one is her favorite.
An American Horror Story.
Yeah, American Horror Story. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. That's. We'll go into Dell and Desiree now, unless anybody wants to comment on Ethel, Miss Beautiful Ethel.
Now we get to go
Doesn't get
with
us wrong.
Dell and Desiree. Does anybody else have anything else to add before we switch?
She's after 3 episodes.
All right.
Yep, that's it. Okay, go on with Mr. Dell and Desiree.
Okay.
We are.
Now we're going into. Yes. Now we're going into Dell. Now talking about Del Toledo, whose full name is Wendell Toledo. He's the strong man or barker of the show, in Freak Show, portrayed by Michael Chiklis. Let's see. Del was a strongman of the vaudeville trope, and according to this, it says he married Ethel Darling, although we get mixed reviews on that.
He's the ex-husband of 2 women now, right? Not at first, but eventually.
Not at first, but so yeah, he ends up marrying Ethel Darling, the bearded lady who was madly in love with him, which is true because it's portrayed in the show. That she was actually madly in love with him, but it turned out that he didn't love her at all, which is really sad.
I don't think he loves anyone.
No, he doesn't. Let's do a scan here. And it says here, at one point they were penniless and unemployed, while Ethel was carrying their unborn child. Out of desperation, Del arranged the show and charged tickets to let people watch Ethel give birth to their son, Jimmy Darling, who was born with deformed hands, to squeeze more money out of the show. He offered to let the audience carry the monster baby for money, though they were too repulsed to even want to. Later on, in a drunken stupor, Del became irritated with Jimmy's crying and tried to kill him, and tried to kill his own baby.
Bastard.
By trying to strangle him. And that's when
a strong man ain't gonna take a whole lot to kill a baby.
Yeah, he is a strong man, so it's not gonna take much. And obviously, she stopped him, and that's when she ended up taking Jimmy and leaving him from that point. Was to save her own son. But anyway, yeah, Ethel caught him and told him to leave and never to return to her or her son. So then he left, and he ended up meeting Desiree Dupuis. Desiree.
Real.
We'll talk about her as well. A woman with 3 breasts. Therefore, let's see.
Just an extra nipple.
Huh?
Just an extra nipple.
Well, yeah, she's actually considered a hermaphrodite.
But she's not.
Because she's got male and female parts.
Supposedly.
But she doesn't.
So.
But that is what she was billed as. That is what she performed as for most of her life.
Yeah, her whole life.
Mm-hmm. They were formerly with the Giuseppe brothers of Chicago, but they had to leave when Del killed the man that he caught sleeping with his wife. Yeah. So obviously Del has jealousy and anger issues, and then
basing Del more on that.
He doesn't deal well with others.
No, not at all. What's
Okay.
he look like?
As far as personality and appearance, Dell is completely bald with an opposing heavyset build, and he wears a leopard and he wears a leopard and fake mustache when
Leopard
he's performing.
leotard.
So technically he doesn't have a mustache. Yeah, the leopard leotard. He wears the leopard leotard and a fake
stereotypical looking
mustache.
strong man.
Yeah, it's very typical. Very right out of the comics strongman look.
And I think that's the way that he was portrayed in the show. They kept him very simple. They mainly portrayed him as just someone with severe anger issues, and his way of dealing with things was to actually
control issues,
hurt people, or end up killing them. Yeah, he had control issues and everything else. But he was also secretly he was a hot mess all around, and he was basically secretly hiding the fact that he was also gay and didn't want to admit it.
Yep.
And that was what he was hiding with Stanley. That was the leverage Stanley had over him.
Correct. Because Stanley
like him trying to kill Jimmy.
Yep.
Oh, Stanley's a piece of work. But we'll get into him at a later time. Let's see. Yeah, apparently he was extremely brutal and he had an uncontrollable temper. So Dell was, according to this, he was far from perfect. No kidding. Yeah, but the turning point for him was when Stanley was blackmailing him because he wanted more people for the museum. So he originally wanted Dell to first give him Jimmy's hands, and then so he couldn't go through with that, and Stanley ended up blackmailing him, and his the worst thing he ever did was tricking Ma Petite and breaking her neck.
Ugh.
so that Stanley could sell her. So Stanley could sell her to the museum and put her in a jar.
And then he tried
that's
to
one
himself,
thing,
right?
Well, yeah, because he felt so bad about it.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing you don't do in the freak show circuit is you don't go after your own.
Yeah, and then he tried to go after Eve.
That
and
is that is extremely wrong. Yeah. And he couldn't live with himself after that because he basically killed one of his own. So that's when he tried to take his own life.
Yep.
But Desiree cut him down because because
they have a plan. They have a plan.
Yeah, they have a plan altogether. So they cut him down. But basically, once Elsa finds out about the fact that he killed Ma Petite, she just wants him to admit it. So they're able to get him to admit it, and Elsa shoots him in the back of the head. So that was how we were able to get rid of Dell.
So then we have Desiree.
That is Dell.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. So now, in a nutshell, that is Dell and Desiree. Yes.
Well, Desiree, we talk about Desiree? Desiree was thought she was a hermaphrodite her whole life. She was told she had extra parts. What? Come to find out, she wasn't. She had an engorged clitoris, and the extra estrogen and stuff in her body produced that extra breast. So she really was all woman, more than woman.
They call it.
Yeah, she was extra woman.
Yeah.
Extra woman, not both.
Okay, she was originally born Derek Dupree in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Desiree was named after her maternal grandfather, a baseball player. Due to ambiguous genitalia, she was mistaken for a boy at birth and spent her formative years of her life as a brother of five older sisters. Hit puberty at 12, and when she grew not 2 breasts but 3, that's when everything changed.
That's when it's kind of like, maybe this isn't our little boy.
Yeah. Let's see. She's a prideful woman who, despite her unconventional body, her 3 breasts, and her abnormally large clitoris, they must get into technical difficulties on this one, and enjoys, let's see, she has shameless confidence. She's obviously, she likes to perform, but she's quick to use her sharp tongue as a weapon, and
Hello?
is pursued even further.
She has no problem killing people.
She has no problem whatsoever.
If you push her hard enough, she has no problem. No problem. Either messing you up or killing you.
Oh yeah, she's no nonsense.
Yeah, she will protect anyone.
Anyone.
And she becomes very motherly, like, to these freaks.
Yeah.
Well,
she's
oh my
very
God.
protective.
When Dandy's hunting her at the end, that is like one of the best Angela Bassett performances. When she's in that trailer and she's just fighting for her life. Oh, it's so good.
It was so believable.
Yes.
Like you felt like you were in there with her. You're like, don't breathe, don't breathe,
Yeah,
don't
it wasn't.
breathe.
Yeah, it wasn't like a little action scene. It was like this bitch is gonna die, and you knew she was gonna die, and just the fear that was going on. Ugh.
Yeah.
Horrible. That scene is probably, as bad as it is, probably my favorite scene of all of American Horror Story. Is that scene, that whole episode, the assassinations.
Yeah, she ended up becoming the motherly figure of the troop, and she was very protective of everybody.
Yeah.
Well, she stepped up where Ethel failed, when Ethel started spiraling out of control, and then after Ethel was gone, Desiree really took the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe she earned an Emmy nomination for her role.
I believe she did as well. R.A.P. in hell. Yeah.
Good old Dell.
Good old Dell.
It was a great introduction for Chickless in the series.
Yeah. Especially since he hadn't been. This was his first time back on FX since he did The Shield.
Yes.
In hell, Dell.
Mm-hmm. But that is the Darling Family.
And I think there was only 2 episodes that Desiree wasn't in as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So they came quickly then in the show.
Yeah.
I was thinking they'd come after the show had been well said. They come the second episode then?
It was 2nd or 3rd episode.
Wow.
I believe. But it was pretty quick. Because they had to round out the cast.
What does she say? What'd she say? I'm a lady and then some.
I'm all woman.
I'm all woman.
That doctor, there may be weird stuff about connection wise when we get theories and stuff about that doctor as well that she goes to see and Ethel goes to see. Because Ethel, that's something I didn't mention about Ethel. Oh my God, that's a huge part to her story. Ethel got cancer. Ethel had cancer, and she knew that she wasn't much for gonna living anyway. There's nothing. Her cancer was stage 4.
She had like 6 months to a year to live.
She knew that. She kept that a secret. Desiree was the only one that knew it at the time. So when she started spiraling out of control with the alcohol and stuff, that was part of everything that was compounded on top of her. And she that's probably one of the biggest reasons why she found her peace. She knew she was going out anyway. And I love Ethel. Oh, my favorite character of the show.
I don't think I like just about every character in.
Oh yeah. She shot ping pong balls out of her.
She's all the tricks.
That was great.
God, that scene in Priscilla Queen of the Desert when it happens and he just starts laughing. I just love it.
Well, that is the Darlings
It's the
That is
darling.
Darlings.
and
Yes.
the Toledo and the Dupree, technically.
Yes, technically.
But that is them and their connections. That is the relationships there.
Yeah.
We hope you guys have enjoyed this show. We enjoyed bringing it to you and informing you guys of all this stuff. We learned a few things, and hopefully you guys did too. If there's something we didn't cover with these four that you guys thought of or know, please tell us in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We will be back here again tomorrow with another show for you guys. And we have a lot more coming up for you guys as well. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell so that you guys are
Tomorrow, too.
notified every time we upload.
Tomorrow's who?
Tomorrow we are doing. What are
Villain.
we doing tomorrow?
Are we doing villains tomorrow?
Are we doing villains tomorrow?
Oh, we are doing because the freaks are less. We are doing villains tomorrow, so it's a fun show tomorrow. We're doing Mordrake, the Motts,
Yeah.
and
Esmeralda, Stanley.
Esmeralda, Stanley.
Dandy. All of it.
Yes, Twisty's
Stanley.
tomorrow.
Well, you guys know what that means.
You
Yeah.
have Twisty Mouse?
Because I believe we're closing out the week with the true
with the actual
story
performance, yes.
with the true stories on the freaks, right?
Yes.
On the freak. Yes.
Yeah, special show.
That will be Thursday.
All
That
right.
one,
then.
expect Thursday. Thursday will probably go a little long.
Okay.
Tomorrow
Alright.
might too because we have
Yeah.
multiple
It's really
villains.
long.
So
Yeah.
be prepared for a little bit longer.
Yep.
But that's it.
That's
Thank
it.
you guys. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Oh, wait. We forgot one. Got the ones of today. I put it down. What was it?
Yes.
This is what I told you I was going to show you guys.
and Batten Dot's uterus.
I said I was going to show you guys.
Yes,
that
but we
one.
don't know that because we never got the answer.
It could be Dandy's. Could be Dandy's.
This one
We have to
is.
wait till that kid's born, see what it looks like, see if it's Psycho. Ooh, what is that?
This is the circus. The guy that runs the circus in Crimes of Grindelwald. This is the other one that I told you that comes in a walking staff. This guy has a walking stick, and it comes in. But they didn't make it the replica that way. They just made it just this part. But it is the only other one that's like that. Crimes of Grindelwald.
That's really cool.
It's very circusy.
Yeah.
It's like a clown's nose. His name is
Or the
Skender.
big ball
Yep.
on the big top.
Yep, his name is Skender. He's a guy that runs the circus in Crimes of Grindelwald. So how fitting.
Very fitting.
There we go.
Yep. All right, everybody. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.
Stay
And
warm, stay cool wherever you're at. Do what you do. We love you.
Stay
We'll
safe.
see you then.
Wear a mask.
all right,
Wash
bye,
your hands.
guys.
Bye.